Good evening and welcome back to Prime of Midlife. I have calmed down now after my hot water bottle madness. And I want to talk about a few things tonight. Some electricity tips, some prepper tips, and also just some other bits and bobs. So we shall start with electricity tips because Patrick, being the electrician, I asked him for what he thought would be some of the best ways for cutting down electricity usage. And he was like, well, what do you want me to say? Because they're quite basic. I was like, yeah, but some people might think of them because there's a lot of stuff that he wasn't terribly impressed with my way of doing. So I got 5 tips of him. And the first one, of course, is your thermostats. Turn down your thermostats in your water and in your rooms. Don't just do one, do them both. Also, if you've got like central heating, put timers on it. Instead of having it running low all the time, have it set for timers so that you've got it, that you're not coming into a really cold house and you're firing everything on full to heat it up. Have it on low for maybe an hour before you come in or something. One of the other things he said is lighting. Now, I have switched my pendant lights in my sitting room. I have 2 pendant lights, and a year ago they had pretty little leafy things hanging down, and there was 3 bulbs in each. I am now down to 1 bulb in each, and those bulbs are LEDs. LEDs definitely save you a lot of money on your light bulbs. But what Patrick had thought, he said, you know, in the last however many years, a lot of people have had downlighters put in their house. You know, the little circular bullseye things. Now, if you've still got them as incandescent bulbs, because you have maybe 6, 8, whatever in the room, that could be costing you a lot if you haven't changed them to LED. And the way to find out whether they're LED or not is not to touch them, under no circumstances touch them, because they'll get quite hot if they are not LEDs. But hold your hand up, and if there's heat coming off this bullseye downlighter thing, then it's not an LED, and you want to be changing that, because if you've got 6 bulbs in your kitchen, that's a big difference if you change them to LEDs. I know they're not cheap, but they're certainly worth it in the long run. The other thing is insulation. If you can get extra insulation in your house, please do. It makes a huge difference. I think in a previous video I said something about, you know, putting blankets against the walls. We've already talked about getting bubble wrap on your windows, or the film that you get, or cling film even. Insulate will make a big difference. And his final one was directed at me. Put your lids on your pots. And he makes it very simple, in that if you've got your pot turned on full to boil your potatoes, and you put the lid on, it won't take long once the water's boiling for the lid to start jumping and getting pushed off with the pressure. So that's the water boiling. You can then turn it down to 1 or 2 with the lid on, and it will cook on a much lower energy usage, but it will just take the same amount of time because the water's boiling. So it doesn't need to be up at 6. It just needs to be boiling. So yes, that is my sensible electrical tips. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was, it was from Mandy at work. Hello Mandy, this is all your fault. And she actually made a very pertinent point in that a lot of us, when we start this prepper journey and we're like, right, we'll stock this up, we'll stock this up, we'll stock this up. And just in case I'll get that as well, and just in case I'll get that as well. And there's stuff that we never eat. There's stuff that we have not eaten for years, but we think it will be a good idea. And after Mandy had said that, it was a couple of days later, I opened my cupboard and I've got Angel Delight. Now, yes, I remember eating Angel Delight when I was a kid, and yes, it will keep for ages, but when do I ever eat it? Really? So if it's not something you're going to eat, then it's probably better getting something that you will eat. Because the last thing we want to do is end up with more food waste because we've prepped the wrong things. And that came true for me tonight. I made myself a baked potato with cheese. I don't know what happened to the potato. I had it in the air fryer, I had it in the microwave. It was still rock solid. I had it with cheese and it just bleh. Not nice at all. So that wasn't really an enjoyable dinner, and I don't mind that every so often, but it's much better taking the time, maybe saving a bit of money to get what you will actually eat a lot of and what you will enjoy eating. Because it's all very well every time, you know, if you think, right, I'll just eat that and I'll save it, or I'll eat the leftovers. If that's all you've got there, then that's great. I have done that a few times myself. Or possibly you could freeze those leftovers, like for me it's extra spaghetti. Now I've seen me one night come in and grate some cheese on it and that's it. Or I could possibly have waited until I had some like leftover gammon from the end of a joint and threw in some veggies, and it would have been a much nicer meal. Rather than just have that. I'd be as well eating something that I enjoyed and saving the spaghetti to add it to something later. So yes, that was my other thing. Also, a couple of you have, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not a lot of people, but a couple of people have asked, can we send you something? And that is a lovely idea. Thank you so much. Personally, I would rather you found a really small charity like the one that we found to give some money to, and give them something if you could. But what I really do like is letters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up an address. Mandy has somebody, she knows someone that runs a local office in the town. And that lady has very kindly said that I can use that address. So I'm going to put that up on the description, and I will also put it on the website. Here I go again. I'm going to update the website. I am going to update the website. I keep saying it and I never do it. But the radio station is offering to sort us out with podcasts. Not for the radio station, but personal podcasts. So I was like, oh, I could have a Prime with Midlife podcast. And I thought that would be great if I had some letters and I could read them out in the podcast, and we could, you know, that would just be like a fireside chat thing. So yes, that is my thought with that. So I will put the address up there and I'll stick it on the website so that if I forget to put it on a video, you can find it there as well. So thank you very much for the thought. I do appreciate it. But please do look to help one of the wee local charities, you know, that doesn't get a lot of help. That would be awfully good. So yes, that is my evening. As you can see, I'm just out the hot bath. So once I cool down, I will be using one of my hot water bottles. Mandy has already claimed one of the furry cow ones, the Highland cows. So I will take one of them away. I'm very thankful I bought two because I think I might have to keep one for myself. So there you go. I hope you have a good night. I am going to go now and I will catch you later.